We are experiencing the downfall of bro marketing in the online coaching space. I know that I'm seeing it. I know that you're very likely seeing it. And in this episode, we're going to talk about 3 things that you need to focus on instead that is going to work much better than following bro marketing tactics. Because if you're like most of the coaches or experts that I talk to, we've fallen for the trap of bro marketing. We've seen the posts with the fake, private planes in the background and all of these tactics and strategies trying to show you the way to make millions of dollars by Monday just by following the simple approach. And it's really a lot of not necessarily really worthy or valuable content. There are better ways to make sales. There are better ways to grow your business. There are better ways to do marketing that feels in more integrity, more alignment, and more power. And so what I want to talk about today is what's going on with bro marketing and why this is not the approach to follow anymore if you want to build a long-term sustainable business that consistently brings in clients, referrals, and great success stories your way. Because here's the deal. I mean, in my case, I definitely have been seeing a lot of the bro marketing craziness and phase over the years. I started my business in 2016, and back then, bro marketing was the way to go. And so when I talk about bro marketing, what I mean is a lot of pain marketing in your language, right? Using a lot of pain agitation and really speaking about the symptoms and how horrible your situation is right now and why you need this coach to come in and save you with their magical tactics and strategies. It also means really high pressure sales. So you get on a sales call and they're using every strategy possible, like fast action discounts and things like if you don't buy right now, price is gonna double or it's gonna triple by the end of next week, or the typical price is $15K, but right now I'm leaving it at $5K, or things like that are just really out of integrity. And then going through a program only to realize that the only way through that program is if you upgrade to the next level of that program. So the only way to succeed is to buy the next thing and the next thing and the next thing and the next thing. Otherwise, you won't be able to get the result that was promised on the ad, on the copy, on the sales calls, all of the things. And part of the proof that we're seeing right now in this space that bro marketing is not working anymore is that even the Federal Trade Commission in the United States is going after a lot of these marketers, a lot of these companies, and putting really crazy fines and almost basically getting them out of business because of that. And so I'm not sharing this for you to be afraid of it. What I do want to say is that we want to move away from these tactics because they do not work anymore. And listen, that is where I started. I enrolled into a group coaching program that was all about teaching you how to do bro marketing in one way or another, right? And even though I never really necessarily followed the approach, I remember being on the first group coaching call teaching us how to do sales, and the coach telling people that when you're on the phone with somebody, you need to get them to buy no matter what, and basically asking them, is there a car that you can sell? Go around, look at your house, looking for things that you can sell so that you can enroll into my program. And basically, this coach was teaching people to use these tactics to get people to buy. And I remember sitting on that call feeling like, this is so out of alignment. I would never want to enroll somebody if they had to sell something to come into my program. I understand the point. I understand that the work that I do is powerful, but I don't want to work with people that are in such a place of desperation that I am their savior. I don't want to be anybody's savior. And so it was the first and last call that I attended where we were taught how to do sales. And from then on, I went through this program, and I went through a lot of different programs where I saw that the way in which sales were taught were very much a high pressure way. And not only sales, but the entire marketing process as well. How to get people in, what copy to use on your Facebook ads, what copy to use on your landing page, a lot of scarcity based approach, a lot of things that are really about just playing with fear to get people to sign up for your webinar or to sign up for your call, and a lot of urgency that's not really real. And, I followed these approaches and I felt like my business was growing, but I always found myself in this income ceiling, in this place where I couldn't pass through. And for me, I came to realize that a lot of it was because what I was doing didn't feel in alignment. While I didn't do fast action discounts and I didn't necessarily use pressure on sales call, I do feel like a lot of the pieces in my own funnel, in my own process to make sales we're really focused on creating that fake urgency, right? That need of like, you need to buy this right now because I'm going to save you. And little by little, what I did was I started shifting my approach. I started changing how I was doing things. And the funny thing is that it was a very intuitive thing. It was something that I suddenly felt after 2020. I felt like I really needed to do things in a different way. And I started to change my marketing. I used to call it going from pain marketing to gain marketing, where you focus on what is the gain that the person is going to get, right? That doesn't mean that you don't talk about the problem. You have to talk about the problem, but not in a way where you're just agitating the emotions that people have and making people feel like crap and just really making them feel like they need you above everything else. I didn't like that. I thought, I'm a smart person and I don't respond to that type of message or that type of language when I buy from coaches. Why am I using this in my own business? So I made changes in my business that felt in alignment. But the funny thing is that little by little, I felt like people in the industry were doing similar things, right? Little by little, not only was this FTC crackdown like happening, right? But I also felt like a lot of people were starting to feel the ick around this strategy of making sales. And when I really knew that this was true is when I went through the funnel of a high ticket coach that I had bought from in the past. And in their whole video, they talked about how they were really against high pressure tactics and sales and all these things. And the funny thing is that these were the same people that were teaching, high pressure sales tactics. And I literally went in, logged into the back end of the program, and I saw that the sales videos were still the same. They were still selling in the same way. Nothing had really changed in the program, but on the front end, they were talking about something different. So for me, that was a very clear indicator that something is different in the space. Now, I feel like what's happening a lot is that just the industry is changing. The world is changing. There's a bigger awakening around what is right and what is wrong, and what is in integrity and what is in alignment and what is not. And if you really want to focus on making sure that you're enrolling people into your program or into your business or your offer or whatever you're doing, I think that it's very important that you do it in a way that is really coming from truth. And there are basically three things that you want to focus on. Number one, you want to focus on really understanding who your true buyers are. So what I mean when I say that is, just because somebody has a problem, it doesn't automatically make them an ideal fit for your program. Not necessarily. I wish that were always true, but that's not the truth at all. For somebody to be ready for you, they have to be financially in a place where they can afford or they can figure out working with you. I mean, I'm talking about like a higher ticket program here, right? They have to be committed. They have to be ready to take action. They have to be ready to change. And so by you understanding who your audience is and who your buyers are, you can change your entire content strategy to make sure that you're speaking to them. I feel like that part of the process is really the most effective way to actually enroll people. A lot of the people that I talk to end up enrolling into my higher level one-on-one programs, and they pay in full. $15,000, $20,000, $30,000 to work with me. And I'm not changing anything in my marketing. I'm just basically speaking to people who are ready to buy. And so you want to think about, who is my ready to buy client? Who are the people that are ready to take action that would really benefit from working with me, and not just the people that have the problem that I'm just going to push them into buying because why not, right? The second thing that you want to think about is having more transparency in your sales process. I don't think that this needs to be something that is like getting people on the phone and getting people on the sales call at whatever cost. And then once they're on the sales call, you're holding back from sharing almost what the program entails. And I literally have experienced this multiple times on sales calls, hopping on sales calls and being like, what are the modules? What is included? What am I going to learn? And them focusing so much on the outcome that becomes the center of everything that you're doing. And listen, I get it. We're all selling outcomes, but I think that for the sake of transparency, having information at the front end is going to be way more effective than holding back and just really not showing people what's valuable and why they need to buy from you. Why are you afraid of showing the truth of your program? It should have everything. You should be able to empower people with as much information as possible so that they can make the right decision for them. And for example, for us, we give people a PDF before a sales call. In fact, what I do is a 15-minute session session before the sales call where I evaluate people's messaging. By the way, you can book that at brandmessagesession.com. I evaluate people's messaging. I look at their marketing and I tell them, this is the direction to take. Here's what I would do if I were you. And I just give them guidance. If it's a right fit, I move them to a sales call. If it's not the right fit, I don't. But even before I move them to the sales call, I give them an overview of my pricing, my programs, what we're doing. And yet 70% of the people that I talk to move to a sales call. So why not empower people with more information that will allow them to make the right decision? The third thing that you want to think about is really about how to really show people your process. It's kind of tied to what I just said a moment ago, but really showing people that what you do is unique and powerful and creating demand for it. Because I feel like at the end of the day, if your powerful process is very clear, you have a clear method, you have a clear message, there's a message that you're standing for behind, and this is really what you do, then your process for getting people to buy should be simple. By the time somebody hops on a sales call, they should be ready. They should have enough information to make that decision. So if you're able to create a very powerful, compelling message that clearly defines what you do, why it's different, your angle of mastery, your perspective, your point of view, your way of approaching the problem, well, then that sales process should be the easiest decision in the world for that person on the other end of the phone or on Zoom, right? And so ideally what you want to do is throughout your entire process, whatever you're doing, whether it's an automated funnel or whether you're creating content on YouTube or LinkedIn or podcasting or whatever you're doing, it should all be there to show people your way of approaching the problem, your way of approaching the solution, what you do differently, and creating kind of this need, but not need from a place of desperation, but rather a need from a place of empowerment. Like, oh, this is exactly what I've been looking for. It's this missing piece of the puzzle. So by the time that they hop on the sales call with you, it becomes an easy decision. So when you really are focused on creating a message that is compelling, that is creating a need for what you do, that turns what you do from a nice to have to a need to have, making people feel like this is what I need. Again, not from a place of desperation, but rather from a place of empowerment and this is the missing piece. Well, then that sales process becomes easier and you don't need to use any of the bro marketing strategies. You don't need to use claims or guarantees or anything like that to get people to buy, which I think is fundamental. Because again, I feel like that strategy is very lazy. Let me get people on the phone, let me spend as much money as possible, let me push people on there, and let me use as many claims as I possibly can, as many guarantees as I possibly can to get people to buy. But then the program isn't really built for that audience because you're not selling to the people who are your true ideal client. You're selling to people who are willing to succumb under your pressure and buy. And so you really want to make sure that you're being smart about the decisions that you're making and you're not falling for bro marketing. You're not following bro marketing strategies in your own business. They do not work anymore. People are kind of actually repelling completely from it. And it's not the most effective strategy to get people to buy. Instead, having a core message that is very clear is going to be way, way more effective. I have a video where I talk about my sales process in a little bit more detail. I'm going to make sure that we link it right next to this one so that you can watch it and understand a little bit of how that process works and what you can incorporate so that you don't fall into bro marketing strategies and you use things that are much more effective. You can also sign up for readytoinvestclients.com for a training on how to speak to and attract ready to invest clients. Make sure that you follow me on LinkedIn, Apple Podcasts, YouTube, Spotify, Facebook, TikTok, everywhere else that you get your podcast. Make sure that you subscribe and let me know in the comments below, have you bought a program through the strategies of bro marketing? What was your experience? Let me know in the comments because I am sure that I'm not the only one. I will see you in another episode. Bye.